requested leave for the exhibits to be admitted and marked. May I do so now before we continue with the Colonel's evidence?
Please.
Chair, it would be, so it's CJC 203, from CJC 203 to CJC 225. May I request that all of those exhibits be admitted into evidence?
So admitted.
Thank you, Chair. Colonel, we were at paragraph 46.7 of your statement, the supplementary statement. Could you read that paragraph into the record, and then I have some questions for you on that.
During the time the officers were busy at the scene, a call was made to 10111 alleging hijacking of a truck by bogus police. 10111 dispatched officers from Boysens Police Station. Boysens Police Station approached these officers on the scene, and there seemed to have been a disagreement regarding where the exhibits and the suspect would be taken. There were also allegations that the 3 officers on scene had loaded the drugs on the scene in order to leave with the drugs.
Okay, so the allegation here is that the bags that were loaded onto the black bakkie were going to be driven away.
That is indeed correct, Commissioners.
So I would like to, in fact, let's just pick that out from the record. If we could just turn to page 96 of the exhibit bundle, and that is a page in the report by Major General Gerber. And if you look at page 96, right at the bottom, let me know when you're there.
I'm there, Commissioner.
Okay, so it's the last paragraph on that page. And here he is relating the information he received from Lieutenant Colonel Sebola. And in the last paragraph, if you could just read the last paragraph, please.
I was called to the scene by Lieutenant Colonel Ludik. Is it that paragraph?
Yes, that's right.
He arrived at the scene and found several police vehicles and members. He was introduced to Sergeant Ndau, who was in charge, and handed the scene over to him. The scene was explained, as well as those implicated. He was informed by Sergeant Ndau that the members wanted to leave the scene, and he parked his vehicle in front of the Nissan. He interviewed all the suspects and obtained their explanations.
Okay, thank you. So it was Sergeant Ndau who was at the scene when he arrived. It's his evidence that says that the officers on the scene at the time, the first officers on the scene, that would be the traffic chief, Mashaba, and Officer Mahane, and Officer Pakula.
Correct, Commissioner.
Were allegedly wanting to leave the scene, remove the drugs from the scene in the bakkie. Is that correct?
In terms of this report, yes.
In terms of what Sergeant Ndau relayed?
To Captain Sebola.
Yes. Okay, so let's look at the flying squad two-way radio conversation that took place. And you'll find that if we start at page 27, and you'll see it's page 27 is a statement by a Ms. Bugelwa.
Yes.
And she provides a report of the interaction that took place with the flying squad members. Pardon me.
Yes, Ms. Hazim, together with the page numbers, you should please also reference the exhibit number. Like this one is what, CJC 209.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, this is CJC 209.
And the earlier one, we just stepped off, what was it? The one at 90, was it 97 or 95? I've forgotten.
That was CJC 216.
216, yes.
And it was the investigation report by Major General Gerber,
Yeah. And
Thank
the
you.
page again was
page 96.
90. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So, Colonel, if we could look at CJC 209, statement of Ms. Bukelwa, at page 27, that's where you find her statement.
Yes.
And she had been requested to provide the transcript of the two-way radio call.
Yes, I see
You
that.
see that, okay. And if you turn then to page 30, the actual radio conversation is transcribed. And it begins, and this is important because what it does is it starts to give us a timeline on the day of when things began to happen. So here, the radio conversation begins at 8:23 in the morning, is that correct?
According to the record, yes.
And if you could just read, so it's marked, the paragraphs, for each exchange is marked 2.1, 2.2, and so on. Can you just begin with 2.1?
At 8:23 and 30 seconds a.m., Zulu 1 desk 4 Mike called Bravo Sierra 12 Control.
Okay, so do you know who Bravo Sierra 12 Control
No, I
was? I believe it was Sergeant Doe, is that correct? Yeah, it was Sergeant Doe. It's also in his statement, but we don't need to go there for now. But can you tell me why would he have been called?
I don't know.
Okay, and if you just continue reading the 2.2.
2.2, it's 22 seconds, 08:23:22. Zulu 1 desk 4M called Bravo Sierra Control.
Okay.
So it will have been a double one. If they don't hear it the first time, they will call a second time.
Okay. And then 2.3?
At 08:23:28, Bravo Sierra 12 said controller, Bravo Sierra 12, good morning.
So is now this the response of?
He's now responding to their call, yes.
Okay. And then at 2.4?
That is at 08:23:33 seconds AM, Zulu 1, desk 4M, said, Eriton, are you going Eriton?
2.5?
At 08:23:39 seconds, Bravo Sierra 12 said positive control.
What does that mean?
In other words, it's positive that he is going to Eriton. Answering them, are you going to Eriton in 2.4? Say positive control. In other words, he's going to Eriton.
Okay, and 2.6?
2.6 said Nasrek Road next to Shell Garage. You will find Chris, stand by.
Okay.
You will find Chris from trucking hijacking occurred at the Shell Garage. Contact number Chris 072 132 9663 IR 114 1809.
Okay, I mean, it's talking about a hijacking at Shell Garage, is that correct?
It seems to look like that, yes.
Do you think, does this have to do with the incident we're concerned about, the Eriton incident?
I'm not sure, but there was issues, if my memory serves me well, that I think the people at Scania then started phoning the police to say that there might be a truck hijacking because of the people following the truck.
So this would have been at the time when they were en route
To Eriton.
to Eriton.
Yes, ma'am.
I see.
Commissioner,
Okay.
sorry.
So this is taking place at roughly 8:20 in the morning,
8:23, 42
8:23 in the morning. Okay. If you can just then pick it up again at 2.13.
2.13, that would be at 10:13 and 20 seconds AM. Bravo Sierra 12 said, yes, controller. Can they have permission with Bravo Sierra Jock?
And do you know what that's about?
The Jock is the Joint Operations Center, so they wanted to make a report to Jock. And if one person needs to speak to another, the control center needs to be asked for permission.
Okay. So what had happened here was that Sergeant Doe would have called the Joint Operations Center.
Per radio, yes.
And would that be an appropriate response?
If he wanted to make a specific report or explain a situation, that would be the wanted response from him, yes.
Okay. 2.15.
That would be at 10:13 and 32 seconds. Bravo Sierra 12 said, yes, control. They are calling Jock from that complaint. They are still busy there. They will inform the control when they are done. Can they proceed with Bravo Sierra Jock?
Okay. And then there's a series back and forth at 10:13, 11:19, 11:20. As I understand this, it's the controller asking for a report back
On
as to what's taken place.
That's how it looks like to me as well, Commissioners.
And it culminates, for our purposes, at 2.30. If you could just read that.
2.30, the time they reach 11:23 and 22 seconds. Bravo Sierra 12 said, yes, Bravo Sierra 12, at that complaint, Eriton, truck hijacking. The truck was not hijacked. The truck was being escorted by police. They suspected that there was something wrong under the truck and that the truck was opened and found drugs inside the truck. The driver will be arrested. There's only one suspect.
Okay. Let's just pause there for a moment. That's now at 11:23. So by now the truck has arrived, the drugs have fallen out, and this is the report back.
Yes.
And according to this sergeant, there's only one suspect. And in addition, he says the driver will be arrested. Would it be right for me to read that as the driver of the truck?
That's how it looks to me like, yes.
Would the driver of the truck been arrested normally under these circumstances?
Not necessarily. One would first have a look at what role he played, if any, in terms of the transportation of these drugs. But I think that report, if I read through the report, seemingly Bravo Sierra 12 had an interview with these people that were following the truck from Eriton, from Rudekop to Eriton. And that was what they told him, that it's not a truck hijacking, but that they have discovered drugs and that they're going to arrest the driver. They meaning, the deduction I'm making, it would be Traffic Officer Mashaba.
The driver of the truck was not arrested, as we came to learn, isn't that so?
That's correct, Commissioners.
Can you explain why? So you've said that normally the driver would not be arrested. I mean, I'm asking this because you've got a vehicle. You now have established that there's drugs on the vehicle. Maybe the driver shouldn't be arrested, but the driver would be questioned.
Definitely questioned, not necessarily arrested.
And was the driver questioned?
To my knowledge, yes, he was. There should be a statement from him in the docket as well.
Okay, so this scene is, now we can say that this started in the morning and it arrived at Eriton roughly, it was around towards 9. This was en route. By 9 o'clock, it was in Eriton.
It seems like it from this transcript.
So the
yes.
crime scene starts pretty early in the morning.
Indeed
right.
correct, Commissioners.
Okay, so can you just then go to 46.8?
46.8.
Yes.
Sorry, Colonel, before you do that, this page 30 document, this is a call to 10111. Control. Is that what this is?
It's a radio call to 10111, yes, Commissioner.
And would it have been available to Mr. Mashaba to have made a call to this same center requesting assistance at the scene? How does it work, the system?
The system, in essence, would work as follows. He would be able to make a telephone call to 10111, or he would be able to maybe, if he's got a traffic department radio with him, he would be able to call into his control center and request to be patched through to the 10111 center.
He does have a means. He had a means to call in somewhere.
Absolutely,
to
even via
request
phone,
assistance.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner.
All right. Now, this transcript here on page 30, I've tried to follow Ms. Hassim as she's taking you through it. It's very difficult for me to form a picture of, in fact, what was happening in this communication. We know from Ms. Hassim that B Bravo Sierra 12 is Mr. Ndou, she says. But what is a summary of this communication here?
If I read through it and if I, with my experience, try to, excuse me, to make sense of this, is what happened was that a call came through, and in the 10111 center, they know where the vehicles are. So the 10111 center would naturally call a vehicle close to the scene and say, please go and have a look, please respond. We have a report of a truck hijacking at this specific address. Then Bravo Sierra 12 responded, and seemingly they then had a conversation with this, Mr. Mashaba and company, and they received the explanation of why are they following the truck, and it's not a truck hijacking. And then eventually there at 11:23, it was said that they have indeed escorted the truck, and the police, in my opinion, refers there to themselves, Mr. Mashaba and the people, and that they believed that there was something wrong with the truck, and that when they opened the truck, they found that there was drugs inside the truck, and they were of the view that the suspect in this case would be the truck driver himself.
They would have been responding to what he had on 10111, and then Mashaba explained what it was about.
That's what it looks like to me, Commissioner.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Colonel. Thanks, Ms. Hassan.
Maybe, can I just clarify that a little further? Is it not that Sergeant Ndou went to the scene and that he was reporting back that this is what happened, rather than Mashaba relaying it via Sergeant Ndou, if you know what I mean, right? He goes to the scene, he responds to the call.
Yes.
He goes to the scene, he calls Jock, so he calls for reinforcements. He goes to the scene, he establishes what's happening, and he obviously hadn't reported back to 10111, which is why they then call him a couple of hours later to get a report back to, and I skipped over it, and maybe that wasn't so good idea, because what it shows is that, as I see it, the radio controller saying that the supervisors are on their neck, meaning they, in the call center, need to be able to sort of close off
The complaint.
the complaint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they call back to him to get a report back, and then he reports back with what he says at 2.30, paragraph 2.30.
If I read this thing, it's clear to me, in my opinion, that Sergeant Ndau must have interviewed people to establish what exactly was going on.
Yes. Thank you. So we know now there are more, because there are officers that have been dispatched to the scene, there are now officers arriving already in the morning. Can you then go to paragraph 46.8
Of my supplementary.
of your
stuff.
supplementary?
Okay. To complicate matters further, Scania Security also called a highway patrol vehicle which was conducting a roadblock nearby, or near the scene, sorry.
So in addition to these officers, in addition to Sergeant Ndau and him calling Jock and saying, please send reinforcements, you've got the Scania people themselves making calls, and so there's additional security that's arriving.
Yeah.
And this would be, in this case, the highway patrol. Do you know whether it was just one highway patrol vehicle or more than one?
I'm not sure if it was only one highway patrol vehicle, but if my memory serves me well, there was indeed a roadblock conducted by the Boysens people, the Boysens police personnel in the vicinity. And it was the highway patrol vehicle and some other marked uniform vehicles that responded with the highway patrol. I'm not sure how many, but if my memory serves me well, there was more than one vehicle responding.
Okay. And then 46.9?
46.9, more and more law enforcement officers came to the scene, including a K9 unit members.
Okay. So the K9 unit arrives, and there is a statement by Sergeant Bakula who says that he called the K9 unit. And that it was his brother's K9 unit that he had called. Am I recalling that correctly?
If my memory serves me well, yes, I think that was correct.
Okay. So now that we've got a K9 unit on the scene, did they conduct an inspection with the narcotic dog?
I'm not sure if they did indeed conduct, because remember at that stage I was still not on scene. But yeah, I was not on scene, so I cannot really comment on if they did an inspection, yes or no.
Should they have?
It would have been a good idea,
Yes.
yes.
Because that's the point of having a narcotic dog, is to at least at a preliminary level establish whether the crime scene you're dealing with is one involving drugs.
Yeah, and search for other drugs that was not maybe the ones that were falling out of the container. Yeah.
Correct. No, I mean, it's possible that there might have been more at the back of the container.
Indeed, correct, Commissioners, yeah.
Okay, so I just want to know whether you are aware that there are allegations, which I'm sure you're aware of because you've been doing the investigation. There were allegations by several members at the scene that General Khan had prevented the K9 unit from conducting the inspection.
I cannot comment on that because, again, I was not there at that stage. I didn't specifically hear that. But, and again, at the time I arrived at the crime scene, General Khan was no longer on the crime scene.
Okay. But you confirm that the K9 unit should have been permitted to do an inspection?
It's always a good idea, yes,
Yeah.
Commissioners.
Thanks. So then you can now go to 46.10.
Later, DPCI members went to the scene, including members that I had instructed to attend to the scene. Pursuant to my conversation with General Katwa, excuse me, as set out in my main affidavit, the scene was contained with many people, in brackets police and civilian, in order in and around the scene.
I think you said contained instead of contaminated.
The scene was, thank you, Commissioner, I appreciate. The scene was contaminated. There was way too many people at the crime scene, Commissioner, so yeah, it was indeed contaminated by too many people, police and civilian, in and around the scene.
Okay, so you say pursuant to your conversation with General Kadwa, he instructed you to attend the scene. It was General Kadwa who instructed you to attend the scene.
Commissioners, that's indeed correct. He phoned me, my original statement also indicated that he phoned me around 11 o'clock to indicate that there was a major drug crime scene that he wanted me and my team to attend to. And as I indicated in my original statement, I was then en route to a meeting in Midrand. I informed him of such, and I then gave my 2IC at the time it was Lieutenant Colonel Ludik. I gave him an instruction to phone the general, get the details, and activate the standby section of the SANEP team at that stage.
We'll come back to that.
Thank you,
to your
Commissioner.
arrival and the call. I just for now want to establish that it was General Kadwa, and it was General Khan who called General Kadwa to the scene in the first place.
I was informed like that by General Katwa, yes.
Okay, thank you. So you say then the scene was contaminated with many people, and you say police and civilians. How is it that civilians would have access to a crime scene? Was it not cordoned off?
A very small portion of, when I arrived, a very small portion of the scene was cordoned off. So the only piece that was cordoned off was the black bakkie standing next to the truck with the container on the back. That was the only portion that was cordoned off. But it is advisable to make quite a substantial cordoning around a scene like that.
In fact, if I could take you to the national instruction, which is included in the exhibit file, Chair, it's CJC 219. And if you could go specifically to page 139.
I am there.
This is under a section of the national instruction called the controlling phase, and what the first responders should do. But 11 subsection 3 says that the first responder must secure and protect the crime scene by A, establishing an inner cordon around the perimeter of the crime scene, as well as an outer cordon around the inner cordon to enable members to perform their tasks within the inner cordon. Now, can you just put, because this crime scene has, as I understand it, the immediate crime scene is where the drugs fall off the container.
Indeed, Commissioners.
And then there's a whole area around it, including the truck itself and the immediate vicinity, the outside the warehouse. That would be, also need to be cordoned off. Can you help us to understand whether this was complied with, an inner and an outer cordon?
To an extent, the inner cordon was complied with, but the outer cordon definitely not.
What would have been the outer cordon?
As I indicated, Commissioners, the outer cordon would be a little bit of a wider area because it's like, you know, certain people with specific taskings would be allowed in the inner cordon, whereas other people with other taskings, maybe just taking statements and the like, would be in the outer cordon.
So, in fact, maybe what would help is if we look at the sketch plan
Yes.
of the scene. Let's have a look at that. And it's attached to Officer Wood's statement. So that would be CJC 207. It's at page 21.
23.
The sketch plan is at 23, but if we could just start at 21.
My
Colonel.
apologies.
It's a statement of Warrant Officer Wood.
Apologies.
Can you just tell us who she is?
Warrant Officer Wood at that time was the standby member for LCRC, the Local Criminal Record Center, for that specific area.
So, again, the Commission has heard a little bit about the Local Criminal Record Center and the importance of the LCRC in crime scene management. So this is an important person to arrive on the scene, right?
Absolutely, to assist with photographs and fingerprints and the like. Yes, Commissioners.
And if you see at paragraph 4, she says, in fact, if you could just read paragraph 4 into the record.
On 2021-0709 at 11:45, due to a request of Warrant Officer Rigotso, I attended an alleged crime scene, an alleged scene of crime at Omena Park, Aerodrome Drive, Ayrton.
Okay. Now, when I read this paragraph, I read it as saying that at 11:45, which was as a result of the request of Officer Rigotso, she attended the scene, so that she was there at 11:45. What is your comment on that?
My comment, Commissioners, would be as follows. When I arrived at the crime scene, one of the things that the investigating officer, Captain Sebola at that time, Captain, requested me was to find out what the delay was in LCRC's arrival on the scene. And remember, my original statement would indicate that I only arrived at about 1. So I then made a call to their officers, and I said, if my memory serves me well, that this individual was just busy on another scene, but is en route.
So she wasn't there when you arrived?
I did not see her there, and the investigating officer also didn't see her there.
And you
Because
arrived at around 1 o'clock? So,
I arrived at about 1, yes.
So this paragraph 4 at 11:45, it's not correct. Maybe she got a call at 11:45.
I think that would be more correct, Commissioners, yes.
Okay. So then we have the crime scene. Page 22 is the index to the sketch. And then 23 is the sketch itself. So if we have a look at 23. All right. What are we looking at here, Colonel?
This would have been the crime, a sketch of the crime scene at the time when Warrant Officer Wood was on the crime scene and what she has observed.
And we see in the sketch the alphabets A, B, C, D, E, etc. Can you just tell us from the sketch which is the actual container, the truck with the drugs?
That would be A, Commissioners.
And what is B?
B would be the black bakkie, Commissioners.
And E?
E would be one of the vehicles, I think that was Pakula's vehicle, if my memory serves me well. It was a red Kia. Yes, it was a red Kia.
Okay. So that's, E is a vehicle of one of the officers. And then if we look a little further down, you see C and D. Those are two other vehicles.
Yes.
And according to Officer Wood, C is a VW belonging to a suspect, she says.
If my memory serves well, Commissioner, C was was a GTI Golf driven by the traffic officer, Mashaba.
So C is Mashaba's vehicle,
Yeah.
and next to Mashaba's vehicle is D, which is a silver BMW. Do you know who that belonged to?
Mr. Mashaba's informant. Cannot recall. We spoke about it earlier. What his surname, I think, is
Nku.
Nku. Yes.
So they parked next to each other. How big is this area in the sketch plan?
It is quite a big area. That inner area there, I would say, is at least twice the size of this venue that we're in width,
Okay.
and maybe 2-3 times in length.
And if you were to describe, based on this sketch plan, where the inner cordon would be, where would that be?
The inner cordon would typically be from the container in front of vehicle E, around vehicle A, and there where it's written on the sketch where warehouse 7 starts.
Okay. And the outer cordon?
The outer cordon would be from the outside of, in my opinion, from the outside of warehouse 7, the top line of warehouse 7 to at least the bottom line of warehouse 4. And then I would also have cordoned off vehicles C and D.
Okay, so quite a large area.
Yes.
And that, you say, was not cordoned off?
The outer cordon was
The outer
not cordoned off on my arrival.
Okay. Do you know why it wasn't? Who was in charge of the scene at the time?
At the time that I arrived there, I was informed that Captain Sibola was the crime scene manager, and so he was in charge at that time of the crime scene.
So, I mean, this is disturbing because when you arrived, it's 1 o'clock.
Yes.
So many hours have gone by, as we saw from the two-way radio call that started in the morning. This is 1 o'clock when you arrive. That had not taken place. Okay. So read 46.11, please, into the record, and then we'll move.
Before you do that, Colonel, in an operation such as this,
Sorry, Commissioner, I didn't hear you.
in an operation such as this, where information, according to Mr. Mashaba, he got the information on the 8th for the first time from his informer. And you've testified what happened on the 8th. He went to, I think, Yellow Jersey, and he was told, no, you can't search.
Correct.
And the following day, they escort this vehicle to the truck to Scania. Can you think of a reason why the informer would be on the scene, on the crime scene?
I cannot think of any reason now.
Yes.
It's actually, in my opinion, it's not a good thing to have an informer on the crime scene because then you can expose him. And an informer is supposed to be a person in the background and not to be exposed
Yes,
on the physical crime scene.
yes. So ordinarily, they wouldn't be on the scene, in your experience?
In my experience, definitely not.
Thank you. Thanks, Mrs.
And when you arrived, was the informer still on the crime scene?
Yes, Commissioner.
We're going to come back to it. So let's just, 46.11 of your statement, if you could read that into the record.
As mentioned, Captain Sibola, now Lieutenant Colonel Sibola, was designated was the designated investigating officer and took over the crime scene as the crime scene manager. After interviewing the 3 officers on the scene, he was of the view that the reasons for their presence was unsatisfactory and that they ought to be arrested for dealing in drugs. He then took over that process while I assisted with the exhibit processes as outlined in my main statement.
Okay, so this is the appropriate place now for us to go to your main statement. Can we go to that statement, please? Because you now deal with your involvement in detail. And I'd like you to go to paragraph 3.
I'm there.
All right, so can you read paragraph 3 into the record?
On Friday, 2021, 0709, at about 1100 hours, I received a call from the provincial head DPCI Gauteng, Major General Kadwa. The general informed me that there was a narcotics crime scene that he needed me and my team to attend to. The scene was at the premises of Scania Trucks in Aeroton, south of Johannesburg. He informed me that a large consignment of drugs was found in the back of a container truck, in brackets, shipping container.
Okay, continue.
I was at a meeting in Midrand and informed the general as such. I then instructed my second in command, Lieutenant Colonel Ludik at the time, telephonically to contact General Kadwa and arrange the standby members and himself to attend the scene.
And did he?
It was reported to me that he actually drove to the scene with General Kadwa.
And did they arrive with standby members?
He did arrive with standby members, and I found him and the standby members at the scene when I arrived there at about 1 o'clock.
Okay. Continue.
Because of the mentioned meeting I was involved in, I arrived at the scene at about 1 o'clock on the same day. I found a large number of police officers on scene, uniform and detectives. Also on scene was members of my team, Brigadier Sekubela. The Brigadier is the DPCI Serious Organized Crime Provincial Commander and in essence my direct commander. Also there was General Kadwa, the provincial DPCI provincial head.
And what was the scene? What did you see when you arrived? Can you tell us what you witnessed when you arrived?
Like I stated earlier, there was a lot of police officers, a lot of police vehicles there. And I would describe it as close to chaotic.
About how many people are you talking about?
40, 50 people, easy.
And in this area that you said that had not been cordoned off?
Indeed, correct, Commissioners.
So further contaminating the scene?
Further contaminating the scene, yes.
You can continue.
I approached Lieutenant Colonel Ludik, who briefed me on the situation of the scene, and he also indicated to me in my absence he appointed Captain Sebola, now Lieutenant Colonel, as the investigating officer. I approached Captain Sebola as the arrangement is that the investigating officer on scene is the scene manager, and I offered my assistance and help to him.
Okay, and let's pause you there for a moment. Why did Lieutenant Colonel Ludik delegate the scene to Captain Sebola? You had given him an instruction to go and attend and manage the scene, right?
Indeed. But he was not an investigating officer. He was not the... We sort of make turns on who's the next investigating officer. And this time the coin fell with Captain Sebola at the time.
Okay. So he is instructed by Colonel Ludik.
In my absence,
take
Colonel Ludik was at that stage my second in command of the team. So he instructed Captain Sebola to be the investigating officer.
Okay. And do you know what time they had arrived on the scene?
I am not sure, Commissioners. It would probably be in their statements.
Okay. So, but certainly by the time you arrive at 1 o'clock, it's chaotic.
I can describe it as such, Commissioners.
All right. Can you continue with paragraph 7? And we'll take that slowly, but if you could just start reading that into the record.
Maybe before you do that, Colonel, how does it work? We know Mr. Mashaba is from traffic, he's chief of traffic. And I think and then he's called his people. In my understanding, all of them are SAPS, not DPCI. And I think elsewhere, either in your statement, you are repeating what someone said, that Boysons, SAPS Boysons were there. How does it work that this becomes a DPCI scene, as we see with Cibola, when in fact the original finder, if for lack of a better word, the original finder of the drugs is traffic, but there's also SAPS by the time you get your call from General Kadwa? How does that work?
Commissioner, as I indicated earlier, the issue is that when it comes to these size of drug consignments, it is clearly a transnational or even trans-international trafficking of illicit narcotics that's taking place. So that's why the DPCI would typically take over such an investigation. Because we have a bigger footprint, and as I indicated earlier, our national coordinator also deals with law enforcement agencies outside of our borders. So that's why it would typically be a DPCI matter, Commissioner.
And is that a common understanding within law enforcement?
Yes,
that-
Commissioner.
So Chief Mashaba, if he knows anything about drug enforcement, he would have known that this is a DPCI matter and would have contacted DPCI. Does it follow necessarily?
In my opinion, he should have known as a senior member. Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, that this is a DPCI mandate matter.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Paragraph 7.
Paragraph 7. Captain Cibola indicated to me that he requested me to assist with the following issues. Point 1, he complained that there were too many people within the crime scene. I instructed some of my team members to cordon the immediate area around the vehicles involved, the truck with the container, and the vehicles on which the exhibits was loaded onto. Non-essential personnel were moved outside the cordoned area.
Okay, so is this now where you establish the outer
The
cordon?
outer cordon, yes.
Why did it require you to arrive on the scene to do this if Captain Cibola was in charge?
Captain Cibola, one must understand, as I mentioned, Commissioners, it was a chaotic scene, and I think he was more concerned with safeguarding the exhibits as our protocols needs us to do. The exhibits and the suspects, he was concentrating on that, and that's why I think he initially left the outer cordon not to be done.
But you accept that the appropriate thing for him to have done was to cordon it off? There were many officers on the scene that could have assisted to do that.
Absolutely, it was. But at the end of the day, one should have been on the scene to realize how hectic it actually was. So to a large extent, I understand why he did what he did. Because he was trying to... The scene was seriously compromised and seriously contaminated at that stage already by the number of people on the scene. So in trying to start dealing with that, I think he just, it was an elephant that he needed to attend to, so he started tending to it piece by piece and the like. And I think that's why the outer cordon at that stage was not a priority for him. That's just my opinion, based on previous experience with him on crime scenes.
It was an overwhelming scene.
It was one of the biggest scenes I've ever attended to personally as well.
Right. And was General Kadwa still on the scene when you arrived?
Yes, he was.
And what would have been his responsibility in a scene like this, chaotic, overwhelming? And I'm not making any judgment calls here or anything on Captain Cibola. I'm just saying that this is the reality of the scene. And you have General Kadwa, who is the provincial head. What would have been his responsibility?
Generally speaking, the General Kadwa would not have involved himself in ground operational issues. So he would have not instructed people to coordinate to do X, Y, and Z. Typically, he would just be in the background and he would be briefed what was going on.
Okay, I'm going to come back to that because I do find this interesting, the extent to which there is a lack of control here, right, of the scene. So the first thing is you move in and you cordon off the outside.
I
the
instruct
outer
people to cordon off,
Yes,
to do an outer cordon, yes.
All right. And then paragraph 2?
He requested members to assist in taking witness statements. I also tasked members to talk to Captain Sibola for him to indicate whose statements needs to be taken.
Okay, so you assisted with tasking members on
Yes.
Captain Sibola's behalf. All right. Paragraph 3?
He indicated to me who the suspects were and requested members to deal with them. I tasked members accordingly.
Okay. Now, on this point of the suspects, what were you assisting him to do? When you say you tasked the members accordingly, what were they meant to do with the suspects?
Start interviewing the suspects, start taking their warning statements to get a better gist of the crime scene and their role on the crime scene.
And that would have been, who were the suspects?
Mr. Mashaba, Mr. Ndau, Pakula, and I cannot now remember the fourth one, but there were four suspects, Commissioners.
Was it not the informant?
That was Nku.
That would have been Mr. Nku, Commissioner.
I think when you said Ndao, you meant Nku.
Yeah,
So,
sorry, Commissioner.
So, Pakula, I just want to also get a bit of clarity on this. And in order to do that, we need to go to the first statement you made on this, not for the commission, but at the time. And that's your statement of 13 July 2021, which is CJC 203. And it's at page 1 of the bundle.
Yes.
Colonel, you should have been a doctor in your other life.
My handwriting is a challenge. I've heard that so many times.
So we're going to need your help here. I did read it, believe it or not, and with some difficulty. So let's just have a look at this statement. And what I would like you to read, well, you can read anything you want, but my particular interest was at paragraph 5. Could you read that into the record for the commission?
I ask, how do you know what's written in paragraph 5?
Yeah, Commissioner, sometimes it's even a challenge for myself. But I will read it to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
I was assisting with the general working on the scene when I was introduced to Colonel Sipungu as being the commander of Warrant Officer Pakula, a member of the National Investigation Unit based in Pretoria. Warrant Officer Pakula was one of the persons placed under arrest. I then, in the presence of General Kadwa, I asked Colonel Sipungu if he was aware of the operation that his member was conducting. He indicated that he is actually on leave, but received a message from his member, Warrant Officer Pakula, at 0827 that he, Warrant Officer Pakula, was following up on drug-related information. He also offered to show me
The message.
to show us the message. I left the colonel and continued with my duties And I recall that I, now I have a
Relayed.
challenge,
Relayed?
relate to Captain Sebola that we in due course should also obtain a statement from Colonel Sipungu and also indicated to him that what the Colonel said.
Okay. So, when Officer Pakula, before Officer Pakula, what this says is that before Officer Pakula arrived on the scene, he did call his commander.
That's what's indicated to me, yes.
Okay. And he and informed his commander, and as I understand it, but correct me if I'm wrong, whose Colonel Sipungu did not object to him attending to the scene.
It didn't look like that. Colonel Sipungu, as I remember correctly and as I stated here, was on leave at the time. So Pakula should have informed whoever was acting in Sipungu's place, but that is just my view of this.
But even though he was on leave, he came to the scene, Colonel Sipungu.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Is that normal?
No, that's not normal. If you're on leave, you're on leave. You're not supposed to involve yourself with official duties when you're on leave.
So you then inform Captain Sebola of this conversation, and you say to him, this is what was told to you, and that a statement should be taken from Colonel Sipungu.
That is indeed correct, Commissioners.
Okay. And do you know whether that statement was taken at the time?
I think it was taken later, but I cannot confirm that.
Okay. Let's move to paragraph 4. 7.4 of your statement. We're back to your statement, sorry.
Okay. You requested members to deal with the exhibits. I then, and this I remember specifically because there was an issue later. I specifically tasked Captain Norkia and Warrant Officer Morris to deal with the issue of the exhibits, the safeguarding, counting, and general handling of the exhibits.
Okay. I want to deal with this exhibits and the counting and in a bit more detail. So I'm going to come back to it. Can you first read in paragraph 5 before I come back to paragraph 4?
He asked me to contact FSL and LCRC to assist with the handling of the exhibits and the photographing thereof at the scene. I adhered to the request. Forensic Science Laboratory indicated that they were not able to assist as they were running on skeleton staff because of COVID and also had a problem with storage space. LCRC was busy at another scene, arriving a little bit later, and dealt with the photographing of the scene and the exhibits and the leftovers, in inverted commas, of the black carry bags, as well as that was handed to the LCRC member for DNA and fingerprint analysis.
Okay, so just on this point 5, we saw in the Port Shepstone case a similar thing. It was a chaotic scene.
Indeed.
There was contamination. It destroys the integrity of the evidence, right?
Yes.
The second parallel here is, like in Port Shepstone, the lab didn't have storage space to
Yes.
take the drugs.
Yes, Commissioner.
What is the problem here? Why does the lab not have sufficient storage space?
There's just no space. Literally, there's no space.
Because of the number of
Exhibits that
Exhibits.
is being stored there, and it also reverts back to the prior thing that I said in terms of the legislation, where we currently have to keep exhibits for way too long, and one runs out of space.
And there aren't that many labs in the area, I suppose.
There's Gauteng, there's one, excuse me, there's one lab in Pretoria. That's the main forensic lab. And I know there's one in Cape Town. There used to be one in KZN as well. But the one in KZN got damaged. It had serious flood damage. So exhibits at that time were no longer going there.
Is that the one in Amanzimtoti?
That's correct, Commissioners.
So there's just one lab, and that's in Pretoria.
And then there's one in Cape Town.
In Gauteng, I mean, there's just
In
one.
Gauteng, just the one in
In
Pretoria.
Pretoria East, in Silverton.
Yes, Silverton, that's correct, yes.
And so you say that they aren't able to assist. So we'll come to then what happens with the exhibits. But the second thing that you say is when you arrived, the LCRC was still not there. At what time did, and the officer, the member, LCRC member we know now is Officer Wood. What time did she arrive?
Excuse me, Commissioners. I do not have the specific time that she arrived, but obviously when she arrived, she would have started to take photographs.
Let's have a look at the photographs that you provided.
Of photographs that I provided
Yes.
with her taking photographs.
Correct.
Yes, Commissioners.
Let's go to, well, let's start at page 9. We saw these earlier this morning. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to come back to the exhibits and the counting of the exhibits, but for now, this is a photograph that would have been taken. This is not the actual photograph taken by Officer Wood,
No.
but she would have taken photographs of the
Similar
scene.
photographs, yes.
And page 10.
That would be correct, Commissioner.
And page 11.
Page 11,
Can you tell us who are the people in this photograph to start with?
I'm trying to see, I cannot recall who's the person with the orange jacket. Next to him would be my good self. I also do not know who's the person here with the back to us. And the person, the last person there looks like, or the second last person, that looks like Warrant Officer Woods. And the next photo will show us better. And
But
then,
before we move up to the next photo, this looks like it's at night time.
indeed correct, Commissioners. One should just bear in mind that around 5:30 in winter, it becomes dark.
Okay, it's already getting dark.
Indeed, Commissioners.
What are the bags that are being handled by the officers?
These are the bags that the remainders of the black bags that we saw in the earlier photographs. The remainder of the black bags was put in these evidence bags, and she was busy photographing the remainders of the black bags. As I indicated, it was given to her on the scene, but she would photograph it before she leaves with it to go and check for DNA and fingerprints in and outside these bags.
Okay, so if we look at page 12,
That would be Officer Woods taking the photographs of these bags to the, if I have a look at the picture as it lies in front of me, to the far right. And I see now the person there to the far left, that looks like Captain Norkia.
to the far left in the
With his
orange- No.
back towards the photographer this side.
I see.
Right next to the bags on the left-hand side, right opposite Officer Woods.
I'm not sure I follow exactly. Is it the person, there's a person with a long coat?
The person with the long coat looks like Brigadier Sekobela, my direct commander, and then just in front of her,
In
to
front
her
of her.
left-hand side, that would have been Captain Norkia.
Okay. And finally, page 13, who are, well, we can see Officer Wood still taking photographs.
Officer Wood still taking photographs. That looks like these would have been two members from my team. They're definitely busy with completing registers there for the official dotting down of the issues of the details of these evidence bags. Maybe assisting Morris and Norkia.
Okay. All right, so, and now this is after dark.
This is now seriously after dark. Yes, Commissioners.
Can we take a step back and now deal with the exhibits and the handling of the exhibits? You said that you had instructed, or you assisted Captain Sabola by instructing
Norkia and Morris.
Captain Norkia and Warrant Officer Morris.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay, now to do what? To count? To do what exactly? All the bags, these drugs, these bricks, are they still in the black wrappings?
They're still in the black wrappings.
In the canvas bags?
Yes.
Right.
If I can take you back, where's the photographs that we just had? If you go back to photograph 4.
Yes.
When these bags were still on the back of the black bakkie, they were still on the back of the black bakkie, I instructed those two to start unpacking this black bakkie, and this is where they started. In other words, they were busy unpacking these bags, and as the bags were put there, this photograph was taken.
Okay. So these were now the photographs of the bags, about 23. And then what is the next step?
The next step would be to open these bags and inspect the content of it.
And to count.
Well, first see what is inside the bags. Remember, we did not know what was inside these bags.
Right.
When they opened the first bag and they saw the bricks, they called me over to say, Colonel, come and look what we have here. And then we immediately realized what we have. Well, as I said earlier, although it needed to be confirmed by analysis by forensics, we knew that we had a very, very large indication that we're dealing with cocaine bricks here. Okay. So they showed it to me. I said, unpack everything and count it and put it into evidence bags.
And was this done in front of the suspects?
I'm not sure where the suspects was at that stage, but the suspects were being dealt with by Sebola and the people I instructed to assist him with dealing with the suspects.
Would it be required that it's done in front of the suspects?
The evidence bag sealed in front of the suspects, yes.
But you're saying you don't know whether it was done or it was not
I'm not
done?
sure if it was done, no.
Okay.
No, but by the time you instructed that the bags be removed from the bakkie,
Yes.
and they end up on the floor here, by that time or today, was there a record completed by Mr. Mashaba or any members of his team that reflected that so many bags had been removed from the container onto their vehicle?
Commissioner, I'm not aware of any such record, Commissioner.
You're not aware of that?
I'm not aware of any such record. To the best of my recollection, such a record does not exist.
They hadn't completed any record?
No, Commissioner.
Thank you.
So, Colonel, we're going to go slowly through the exhibits and how, and what you and Captain Norkia and them found and how many bricks, etc. But I don't want to overlook any aspect of your statement as we do that. So can you just read in paragraph 8 and 9 before I ask my next questions?
I generally assisted and supported Captain Sebola and other team members with their duties on the crime scene. I was happy with the way in which Captain Sebola dealt with the issue of the crime scene management. Although the scene was already seriously compromised, we dealt with it to the best of our ability. I also tended to all immediate reports that needed to be submitted. In specific relation to handling the exhibits, I would like to state the following. The exhibits was packed in black bags with handles. The 2 members who I assigned to deal with the exhibits, as mentioned supra, opened these bags and showed me that it contained bricks. These bricks was wrapped in black and transparent wrap. Out of experience, the team believed these bricks to contain cocaine. In brackets, this, however, would only be confirmed by Forensic Science Laboratories analysis and weighed plus minus 1 kilogram per brick. These bricks also had markings on it, and the 2 I can remember was a bull red in color and a seagull in black color with a white background. These bricks was packed out, counted and photographed. The count came to 715 in total. The bricks was then sealed in official exhibit bags and recorded in number of the bricks per bag and bag numbers. These exhibit bags have specific and unique serial numbers as well. I assisted Captain Sebola to make arrangements for the exhibits to be transported to Boyson's SAPS as the crime scene was in their area. The exhibits was transported to Boyson's SAPS in an official police vehicle under armed guard, in brackets SAPS members. The 2 members who I appointed as the members responsible for the exhibits also accompanied the exhibits to hand it into the SAP 13.
Okay, let's pause there. Let's go to the SAP 13 register. That you'll find at CJC 11, 211, pardon me, CJC 211, and specifically page 41. Have you got it, Colonel?
I have, sorry.
So am I right that this is the SAP 13 register?
This is definitely SAP 13 register.
And we see on the left-hand column on that page, the date 9 July 2021. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then and then it says which station in the second column. And it lists the crime, dealing in drugs.
Correct, Commissioner.
And then the third column is the column that describes the exhibits that are booked in to the register.
Indeed, correct.
And it starts at 3.1.
Correct.
Can you just, we don't need to go through every single one, but can you just describe to us what's contained here in 3.1 to the end?
3.1 describes 1, in brackets 1, times sealed bag with serial number PAB 000297151 containing 18 times 1 kilogram bricks. I can't read that word, suspected cocaine. Possible suspected cocaine.
Right, so that's 3.1. So each entry, if we look down that column, it goes all the way to 3.49. There's one page duplicated, but if you go all the way down, scroll down, it goes to 3.49.
Correct, Commissioner.
Now, I've counted these, and in fact, it amounts to 684. I don't know whether you've checked this count.
I haven't checked it, no.
It amounts to 684 bricks, a total 684 bricks. But I think the reason for that is if you look at 3.12, page 43, Chair.
Yeah, they didn't write in the number of bricks.
Correct. And if you cross-check that exhibit bag number with Morris's statement, you'll see it's meant to be 16. And we'll look at that in a moment. So, in fact, the amount should be 700, not 684, if you add in the 16. But 700 is also not 715. And in your statement, you said there were 715. Can you just explain that discrepancy between the SAP 13 register and...
I cannot, because I was not present when this was handed in. I don't know if they omitted by counting some other bricks, just just handing in the bag itself. But on scene, it was reported to me that there's 715 bricks. And
Do you know why they don't put the total at the end of the entries? I mean, it would make
your life harder.
life easy for everybody, because when you read this many years down the line, I would expect that 3.1 to 3 point whatever, at the end they would tally all of them together and say total equal to...
I will agree with you, Commissioner, that would have been much easier. But again, remember, I was not there when they wrote in, when this when these exhibits were booked into the SAP 13.
But if you have this history of exhibits going missing while in police custody, surely it would help if, when they are first booked in, there's a proper entry and they are tallied and a total number is inserted there.
I will agree with you, Commissioner. I think if we have a look at Morris and Norke's statement, they kept record of this, so they must have been, I don't know if one was just missed or something, but I totally agree with you, Commissioner. That would indeed make a lot of sense, sir.
So, I mean, the question from Commissioner Khumalo is important because it is about maintaining the chain of custody and the evidence, integrity of the evidence, which will help to secure a successful prosecution down the line. So each step along the way here is hugely important. It might seem very small, yes, but it's not. So the error in the SAP 13 register at 3.12 looks like it was just an error if one does a cross-check, but it could become significant.
Yes.
And it's an important thing to get correct. And I think that's where, why this question is quite important. But so what we have is the SAP 13 register, which amounts to 684, but let's say, well, we've seen 3.12, it was just an omission of 16, so it actually totals 700. But you say it should actually be 715. If we go to Warrant Officer Morris's statement, it is a warrant officer, am I right?
Morris is a warrant officer, yes.
So that would be CJC 206. And it starts at page 16. And the relevant part for us, although you're welcome to take us anywhere else in the statement if you wish, But if I could ask you to have a look at paragraph 9. In fact, the first thing I should probably do is explain my own thinking. So, the SAP 13 register, you don't need to go back there because it's a lot of flipping of pages. But that 3.12, the exhibit number, was 296842. 296842. And if you look at paragraph 9 of Morris's statement, under from the 6th sports bag, the second entry, you'll see 296842,
Yes,
exhibit number, and it says 16 packages.
16 packages.
Yeah. So I'm just explaining to you where I got the number 16 from, because that's the same exhibit number, and that's the 16 that had been omitted, right? Okay. So here in paragraph 9, what is Officer Morris describing?
Officer Morris is describing how many of those blocks were packed into a specific unique forensic bag with a specific unique serial number. And then later, towards, no, sorry, that was 14. Yeah, that was what he describes in paragraph 9.
Right. Now, on my count, that adds up to 700, not 715.
Okay.
So it tallies with the SAP 13 register, 700. But then where does 715 come from? I still don't then have an answer to the discrepancy.
I think, Commissioners, I think it will just be good and well for Warrant Officer Morris and Norkia to explain that discrepancy, because on scene they reported to me 715 blocks. And if you go further and you look at my statement, these blocks out of experience usually weighed around weighs around 1 kilogram each. And when it was handed into forensics, and I think we'll probably come to that, sorry for jumping the gun now, getting ahead of myself.
No, I am also looking at paragraph 11 of your statement, at top of page 4. And you are dealing with, I think, the handing over to FSL.
That's correct,
And you
Commissioner.
say the drugs, upon being handed in, weighed 715,86 kg.
Exactly right, Commissioner.
Yeah, and I'm not sure to what extent, if at all, that tallies with the 700 bricks.
715 was handed in, and it weighed 715.88 kilograms.
But what I'm saying is, Ms. Hassim has taken us to 2 places.
That
And the
indicates 700.
calculation is that at both places there was 700. So what I'm saying is, I don't know how one is able to relate those 2 700 counts to the 715,86 in paragraph 11 of your statement.
I totally concur. Well, I see what you're saying, Commissioner. And as I indicated, it was reported to me, I didn't count the bricks.
Yeah.
It was reported to me that there were 715 bricks counted on scene.
Maybe if
I can only testify to what I've got knowledge on.
Yeah.
If I can complicate things further, if we go to CJC 210, It's the statement of Captain Modise, the 212, section 212 statement, and it starts at page 36. Okay. So, just to begin with, Captain Modise is the forensic analyst in the lab, correct?
Yes.
And she provides a statement to record that she received the evidence bags, right?
That's correct, Commissioners.
And if we look at paragraph 3 of her statement, she says, during the execution of my official duties on 21 July 2021, I received 49 sealed evidence bags with unique numbers, and then she lists all of the serial numbers, and we know there were 49 bags. But the last sentence of that paragraph says the total number of solid substance blocks was 715. And I find that peculiar because we know that there were 700 because Morris said so and the SAP 13 register says so, and we can count them up. How is it that Captain Modise then comes to 715? How do we understand, what are we to make of that discrepancy?
Again, Commissioners, I would submit that Warrant Officer Morris and Captain Norkia should answer on that, because it's also clear here that for her to say this is the number of blocks, and for her to be able to do this analysis, she would have opened these evidence bags and literally count the blocks. That's how she also came to 715. So Captain Norkia and Warrant Officer Morris should explain why this discrepancy of 15 blocks.
Because when they're handed into the SAP 13 clerk, the clerk is also doing the count, right?
Yeah.
And at paragraph 6 of Captain Modise's statement, if we look at that, the last sentence, if you could just read the last sentence, please.
An average mass of one solid substance block was 1,001.20 grams. Thereafter, the total estimated mass of the exhibit's material was 715.86 kilograms.
There I've underlined estimated because I think they are dealing with the actual substance, and I would think they are doing the weighing and they are doing everything. So the estimated surprised me, but I'm just making an observation. Please continue, Ms. Hassan.
Chair, it's also peculiar that it's an estimate because it's 715.86, which is not an estimate. But what we have, the point of this being a discrepancy in the exhibits, the number of bricks and the weight of the bricks, and how the count at when it's booked into Boyson's and then when it gets to the lab.
I can see that, Commissioners, yeah.
Okay. So I need to then take you back. So what we know is that the bags were counted, sealed, taken to Boyson's, checked into the register.
Correct.
All of that totally in accordance with protocol.
Absolutely, Commissioners, yes.
Yes. But then, can you read paragraph 10 of your statement?
Paragraph
10
of my statement.
of your statement, yes. So it was a Friday, as I understand it.
Yeah,
that
the
it-
9th was a Friday,
Right.
indeed. That's correct, Commissioners. Throughout the weekend following the operation, I was contacted by the station commander of Booysens, Brigadier Jones. He raised concerns of safety for the exhibits and requested me to have it removed as soon as possible. On Monday, 2021, 07/12, I phoned FSL again and requested if they could take in the exhibits. They still were not able to assist with the storage of the exhibits. As Captain Sebola was busy with the case docket at court, I continued to assist with the matter concerning the exhibits. I phoned Brigadier Naika, the National Coordinator for SANEP, for assistance. He indicated to me that he's got access to safe storage at a base at the the SAPS College in Pretoria. I arranged members of my team, including the two that were dealing with the exhibits from the outset, to meet me at Booysens SAPS. I also arranged a number of SAPS Highway Patrol members to the mentioned safe storage. The exhibits were booked out by Captain Norkia, loaded into the Highway Patrol vehicles and transported to the mentioned safe... Sorry? Sorry, I just heard a noise. My apologies. The exhibits were booked out by Captain Norkia, loaded into Highway Patrol vehicles and transported to the mentioned safe storage in Pretoria. On our arrival, I was shown the storage and inspected it. I was satisfied that this was a very safe place with access control at the gate to the facility inside the SAPS College, and it was a strong room inside a building with a steel door and a steel gate. The room was empty and the key was handed to me. We unloaded the exhibits into the strong room, locked the gate and the door, and I handed the keys to Captain Norkia with the instruction to see to it that the exhibits be moved to FSL as soon as they were ready to receive it. When we offloaded the exhibits bags, the bricks were still in the form that it was at the time of the seizure.
Okay. So what was the concern? I mean, again, given what we know about the importance of safeguarding these exhibits and following proper protocols, and the SAP 13 generally, as I understand it, being itself like a vault, right? It's a very secure place. It's attended by someone all the time. Nothing can go in and out without it being recorded. What was the concern here with keeping it at the Booysens SAP 13 vault?
Commissioners, there were mainly two issues raised by Brigadier Jones. He firstly indicated to me that this arrest of these 4 people drew a lot of attention, and there was more than usual, actually he called it a large number of visitors there throughout the weekend, and he said that there was even demonstrations outside the police station. He further indicated to me that he believes that his SAP 13 storage facility is not safe enough because he doesn't have a 24/7 guard or video cameras or anything like that. So he was concerned for the safety of these exhibits. And, you know, at that stage, I had to try and mitigate the safety of these exhibits because if something would have happened to these exhibits, he would have turned around and said, I told Steyn to make a plan, and now he's not making a plan, and now there's a trouble. So that's when I stepped in and made alternative arrangements in an effort, as I indicated, to try and mitigate the safety of these exhibits.
And was his concern that the protesters might try to, was it his concern that the suspects might have a hand in the disappearance of the drugs?
His approach was that there were a lot of extra movement because of this case around his police station, and he raised that as a general concern. I cannot comment on his train of thought per se during his telephone calls to me, but he had according to him, he had serious concerns about the safety of these exhibits.
Did he mention the size of the hall, that it was unusual for his police station and that made him uncomfortable? Because I recall you earlier saying it was one of the largest you've ever come across.
Commissioner, he raised the issue of the value of this exhibit during some of our conversations. Indeed, he did, sir.
And he called you more than once. Oh, pardon me.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
He called you more than once on that
He
weekend.
actually called me, for lack of a better word, and I do apologize. It was starting to get irritating, the number of calls he actually made to me. But I also, in hindsight, I understand why he made those many phone calls, because he wanted to also see to the safety of those exhibits. And in essence, although the exhibits was into his SAP 13 to a very large extent, the safeguarding of the exhibits or the whole risk in terms of the exhibits would also form part of our responsibility to an extent. Yes, Commissioner.
Let's adjourn and resume at 2 p.m.
Thank you, Chair.